In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Dear brothers and sisters, we've reached the first Sunday of Great Holy Lent. And I said it, I think maybe on Friday at the end of Great Compline, but I'll say it again. The fast will go by very quickly. Before you know it, it will be Palm Sunday. So let's make sure that we use the time wisely. Let's redeem the time. But this Sunday is the Sunday of the victory of Orthodoxy. And in some ways, it doesn't seem to make sense. Why do they put this particular event of the victory of Orthodoxy on the first Sunday of Great Holy Lent? Well, first of all, the victory of Orthodoxy has to do with the iconoclasm. And for those of you who've been around long enough, you already know about this. And that is a period during the 800s, the 9th century, when there were those who said that the icons were inappropriate, that they shouldn't have icons. But they didn't stop there. They persecuted all of those who actually adhered to the belief that the icons are essential to being able to practice the faith and know the faith. And what do I mean by that? And this shows you that it was driven by the evil one. They closed down monasteries. They murdered clergy, monks. We cannot even begin to imagine the thousands and thousands of icons that we have lost that we will never recover. They even burned the fingers of iconographers to prevent them from painting the icons. This is the length they went to in order to pursue this ideology, this heresy, that icons were not part of the faith, and in fact it was wrong to have icons. But I want to focus this morning on those who defended the faith. Those who stood up and said, no, you're wrong. And they were even willing to give their lives in order to defend this. And why? See, it's not about keeping nice artwork in the churches so that our churches can be beautiful. That is not the point. There's a deeper, much deeper theological point than just, these are pictures hanging on a wall. It went to the very essence of how we understood and how we understand the natures of Christ. And in the Orthodox faith, he is fully God and fully divine. If he is any less than either of those things, then he is not the Saviour and he cannot accomplish our salvation. And if we were listening carefully to the Gospel this morning, Nathaniel says, what? You are the Son of God. He recognizes, this is very clear. And so, for the church though, if he's fully God, and if he's fully man, then he can be depicted as a man in an icon. See, this is what it comes back to. Because if you say you can't have icons, then what is the implication for the natures of Christ as to who we really believe he is, and then take that one step further and our salvation itself. But how it came about that this first Sunday was the victory of Orthodoxy is that Saint Theodora, whose husband Theophilus, and we don't call him saint because he was an iconoclast, Saint Theodora and Emperor Michael, her son, on the first Sunday of Lent came and venerated the icons. And remember, this is a very key word. We venerate the icons. We venerate those represented in the icons, but we only ever worship God. There's a big difference there. We do not worship saints. And we're not venerating timber or whatever it's painted on. It is those represented in the icon. Why? Because they are living. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in the sense of they are still alive. And so on that first Sunday, Saint Theodora and her son Emperor Michael come in and venerate. In fact, before that time, the first Sunday of Great Lent was commemorating the Old Testament prophets, Moses, Samuel, and Aaron. And then it was changed for the victory of Orthodoxy. But the one thing I want us to think about this morning, at the beginning of Lent, is that the church had to endure this persecution, and this was a very bad time, for over 100 years. That's a whole generation's lifetime. That's a very long time to spend under persecution and heresy. But the faithful who didn't give in to the heresy, in the end, through the will of God, orthodoxy and the truth reigned, and it was victorious. And what can we learn from this for Great and Holy Lent? And it's this, that we, coming through this journey of Lent, where we are struggling, and I'm not talking about, what will I eat? I'm talking about the passions and the temptations and all of those things that we have to fight. It's going to be a difficult journey. Remember something. If we choose to fast and pray, we have to realize that the evil one will immediately take action. He doesn't allow us to move towards righteousness and holiness and to fast and pray and just leave us be. What he wants is our destruction. He wants to separate us from God. So when we fast and pray, we shouldn't be surprised when I start thinking, wait a minute, I'm fasting and praying, God, but there are more people frustrating me, and all these troubles are occurring in my life, and I'm getting annoyed, and all these things are happening. That's all part of the journey. The demons will put these little traps in our way. And it just reminded me of, St. Anthony being given that vision of all the traps of the demons. And he says, how can one possibly journey through this? And what was the key? It's humility. And we have to, and that's an essential part. This is a journey and it will be hard. But just like those who fought and retained the faith and fought for the faith against the iconoclasts, and bearing in mind, they didn't oppose their violence with violence. What did they do? They fasted and prayed. Because that's always been the answer of the church to any challenge. Fasting and prayer. And so for us, going through this journey, it will be hard. And there'll be challenges, and yes, if we find that all of a sudden, why is it during the Lent do things seem to get worse? Why am I less patient? Why am I more irritable? People seem to think that has something to do with the lack of protein. I can guarantee you, it's well, I'm not a doctor, so I better not comment on that. But be mindful of the fact that demons are laying little traps. And if they can get us to just lose our peace just for an instant, it undermines our whole fast. But if we're like the righteous during the iconoclasm, who retained the faith, who fought for the faith and continued, and saw victory, they came out and the church was victorious, then in that situation, we will come to Pascha and we'll be victorious. And we will have this joy in our hearts for the risen Lord. So with humility, humbling ourselves during this period of fasting and prayer, let us go through the challenges of the Great and Holy Fast. And if we fall, we get back up and we continue on the journey. None of us is perfect, but it is small growth towards the kingdom of heaven. May God give us the strength, the humility, and the courage to take on this great journey of Great Holy Land. It's a gift, brothers and sisters. The church, it gives us this period as a gift. And it's a wonderful time. And I encourage you all to please come and attend the extra services and really feel the joy that comes through fasting and prayer. And that we may see and feel and partake of the resurrection.